Good evening to one and all present here. Distinguished invited speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Le Annie Paul Dachapalli, and Development, Tashwani University of Technology, Pretoria Campus, South Africa. Our ever-encouraging Dean of School of Management, Professor K. Chandrasekhara Rao, Head of the Department of International Business, Professor Bhanumati Madam, our teachers, Professor of Sister Departments, Scholar Faculty, and dear student friends. On behalf of the Department of International Business, it is a delightful moment for me to welcome all of you for joining us for today's international webinar. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome resource person Dr. Le Annie Paul Dachapalli, who is sharing her time and experiences with us today to inspire students and assure the community. Welcome, ma'am. I heartily extend a very warm welcome to our Dean Dr. K. Chandrasekhara Rao sir, who amid his heavy duties and responsibilities is with us to always encourage and support us here today. Welcome you, sir. Our most affectionate welcome to our Senior Professor Lalita Ramakrishnan Madam, who has organized today's meet in the interest of us, the students. I'm delighted to offer the most hospitable welcome to all our faculty members, and also I ecstatically welcome the academic teams of other institutes and our affiliated colleges for this event. Once again, welcome you all. It's my pleasure to invite our Dean of School of Management, Professor K. Chandrasekhara Rao sir, to address us. Please, sir.
Thank you. I'm very happy to join my team of professors and my student friends to formally welcome Dr. Lee from South Africa, and we are very happy to get in touch with her, and yesterday I had an occasion to just chat with her, and very inspiring, and we are very happy to formally request you to interact with our students on your country's experiences, your B school experiences, and that will be definitely motivating for our students. With these few words, I welcome you. After we are eagerly waiting to listen to you, your experiences. I think you have wide varieties of experience, not only as a teacher, you are also helping the students in organizing the HR meetings or training them, tuning them to the market requirements, skill development. Wide variety of stuff, new things are with you. I think this is a rare mixture, and I join the Dr. Lalita Ramakrishnan to formally welcome you, Madam Dr. Lee. Thank you.
I now request Akash to play the Pondicherry University anthem.
புதுமையே போற்றுவோம், புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகமே உனை வாழ்த்துவோம். வங்க கடலலை தாளாட்டும் ஞான சூரியன் உதிக்கும் இடம்,
இது எங்கள் புதுநெறி காட்டும் உலகம். அறிவு தேடல் தொடரும், அறிவூற்றை பொழியும் ஆசிரியர், அதில் தினமும் நனையும் மாணவர்கள். புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகம் அறிவின் சாரம் தனியும் சோலை, அகிலம் போற்றும் கல்வி சாலை, மனித வளமே என்று முயல புனித சேவை தொடருதே. பல்கலைக்கழகம் என்றும் வளர்ந்திட நாமும் வழிபடுவோம், கல்வி சேவைகள் யாவும் காலமும் தொடர்ந்திட நாடும் வேண்டிடுவோம். புதுவை புதுவை போற்றுவோம்.
Before we start the session, I would ask Professor Lalita Ramakrishnan ma'am to felicitate the gathering. Madam, please.
Audio, please.
Please audio.
Okay. We have some audio problem, please.
I'm now reconnected. I'm sorry, there are some technical snags.
Okay.
Very good morning
Madam,
to
what happened to that?
Honorable Chief Resource Person of today's webinar, Dr. Lee Ann Paul Dachapalli from Schwann University, Pretoria campus, South Africa. Revered Dean of School of Management, Professor K. Chandrasekhar Rao, sir, who is always behind us in conduct of this series of events. Dear students, faculty and students from various institutions, at least 12 universities have joined in this webinar and 50 colleges from Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka.
Audio, please.
I request Priyanka to introduce our resource person.
I apologize for the technical difficulties. Our today's resource person, Dr. Mrs. Lee Annie Dachapalli, started her career in academics in 2001 and is currently a senior lecturer and head of the Department of People Management and Department which is Human Resource Management at Schwann University of Technology, Pretoria, South Africa. In her 19 years of academic experience with numerous institutions, she is a recipient of many awards such as Research Recognition Award UNISA, the Dean Achiever Award UNISA, Emerging Research Grants TUT, and NRF Busan Awards for Masters and Doctoral, and is involved with various collective projects with living wages with a New Zealand university. She has published in various journals, both local and international. An area of interest includes job satisfaction, job insecurities, local focus, and organizational commitments, and people manage engagement. Dr. Rachapalli has completed a D.Admin in Human Resource Management at University of KwaZulu-Natal, and she is recognized as a Chartered HR Practitioner with South African Board of People Practice and is a member of Higher Educational Community. I'm truly honored to have you here online with us, ma'am. We look forward to listening to your presentation. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. All the participants are kindly requested to mute the audio, and if any questions, it is requested to be posted in the chat box, which will be brought up by the organizing committee later in the Q&A section. Ma'am, please, the dais is yours.
Good day, everyone. Can you hear me?
Welcome, madam. Welcome. Clear.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having me presenting this morning. Okay, for us here, it's morning from a very cold South Africa. I understand it's almost lunchtime for you there, and I won't try not to be long because I know you want to go on lunch. But thank you. I want to thank the organizing committee for having me present today. It's my privilege to present to you on the working remotely on the COVID-19 pandemic. Just want to present quickly. I also want to welcome some of my colleagues from South Africa as well, and students that would be also listening into the presentation. A warm welcome to you, colleagues.
We also join you formally to welcome your colleagues from your university.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, is my screen clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as you all know, that my topic for today is working remotely and productively during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, we all know that this pandemic has created a lot of feelings of uncertainty within individuals, and not only amongst individuals, but also within organizations across the globe. So at the moment, what are our feelings of the COVID-19? We think of retrenchment that comes to mind, helplessness, job insecurity. We feel stressed because we don't know what the future might hold for us, overwhelmed, scared, and confused. Now, these are all of the feelings that the COVID-19 pandemic brings to us as individuals, because we do not know what the future holds for us and where the organization that we work for or the country is heading into. Now, our encounter with the COVID-19 is that a couple months ago, in March, the COVID-19 seemed as a distant threat. But today, it's reality that affects many lives and organizations. Now, our president in South Africa has announced a lockdown in March, and many organizations and employees were thrown into the deep end, affecting many people. Essential workers and organizations, certain organizations were able to open, those that were giving essential services to employees. Many workers here in South Africa and across the globe were not getting paid for staying at home because of the nature of work. In order for organizations to be productive, many organizations have decided that they would rather go to remote working. Now, the effects that the lockdown had on organizations and employees is that some thought that this particular lockdown was an extended holiday, and others were feeling the effects of lockdown. Many people were laid off by the lockdown. Employees' salaries were cut. People could not make ends meet. And we all know that being developing countries, a lot of people could not make ends meet, where poverty has increased in most of the countries. Crime has also increased. A government went into junk status. However, the government has set aside a COVID relief fund, which was not enough for for our organizations and the individuals. At this stage, many organizations thought that employees would return to work by the mid-April, but this did not happen. So what organizations did was that they opted for working remotely, which was a new concept for many organizations and a very first in many organizations. These organizations and employees had to adapt to the new working arrangement, which had its advantages and disadvantages together, has created a lot of challenges for both employees and the organizations. I want to show you a video for a company that tries to work remotely, but you just have to bear with me. I need to unshare and share the video, please. Okay, so from the video, you could see that working remotely is becoming something of the future, and that we have to make sure that we engage ourselves and become familiar with working remotely. Now, working remotely has its advantages and its disadvantages, but right now, our focus is on how to handle the situation that we are feeling. Now, what is working remotely? Working remotely is any person that does not require a person to commute to the office. Now, we know that in countries like South Africa and India, for example, we know that traffic is a major issue. And with us working remotely, that can save time for us sitting in traffic. So working remotely wasn't even a possibility previously. But however, due to the pandemic, many organizations have opted to work remotely. Working from home is not limited to one sector of population. Men, women, children, parents, young and old can all participate in this remote learning. And we know that it has been become a challenge for all of us to work remotely, because it is something new that has cropped up in the world. Now, working remotely is a learning curve for all of us and is a new lifestyle. Now, it has changed people's life, the way they see life and the way they do things. With working remotely, people prefer to do online shopping now, both groceries and clothing. Even places of worshiping has gone online. Our schools and creches and our nursery schools and universities have also gone online. However, there are different obstacles when it comes to with this remote learning. In order for us to make this working remotely effective, we need to follow certain procedures. And in order to do this, firstly, we need the organization to support the needs of working remotely. Once we get the buy-in from organizations, we know that this particular remote working will be effective. The next point is that we need proper equipment such as laptop, printers, and scanners to make our individuals or employees effective and to meet the deadlines and their objectives. Internet access. Now, we know that internet access has been a huge problem when it comes to working remotely, the connectivity of the internet, etc. And we as employees, together with students as well, will need proper internet access. Now, currently, what we are experiencing here in South Africa is that in order for our students to go online, they need data. And data has become a big issue in South Africa because of the expensive data that the networks provide. So the university has opted also to deliver study packs for our students to make sure that our students are in line with their learning and also do not lose out on the academic year. Telephone access as well. We need telephone access for our employees working from home because that's very important to keep up to date with what's happening between colleagues and to pick up the phone and just to have a casual chat. And you will see when it comes to the advantages, communication plays a very important role when it comes to working remotely. Your different types of communication apps where we can communicate with our individuals, which is your Zoom platform, the platform that we're using now, which is your Google Meet. All these can be used as communication apps. Very importantly, trust. We need to have trust between the employees. Organizations need to trust their employees to make sure that they are keeping up with their job and also trust that they will meet their deadlines and meet their objectives. However, we need to set clear expectations and deadlines for our job. We need to make sure that there's certain deadlines that has to be set in order for us to meet our objectives. And obviously, we need to test remote working with our employees. We know that remote working will not work with all employees. Therefore, it is very important to test that all our employees that want to work remotely are on the same page with everyone else. Some of the advantages of working remotely is that higher productivity. Now, with working remotely, our productivity increases because we can choose the best part of the day that we want to work, and this boosts our productivity. Now, we don't have to work with the strict timings of going into the office. We don't have to work with the strict rules and regulations. You work at the leisure of your own time, which increases your productivity and which makes you a much happier and satisfied worker. Less commuting. And as I mentioned in the beginning, that commuting is a major source of stress for individuals. And with working from home, this frees us from the stress of sitting in the traffic that we experience on a daily basis. Saving money. Now, not going to the office, not commuting every day allows us to save a lot of money. And we as individuals sometimes feel kind of lazy to get up in the morning and make lunch. So we spend their money at the office on buying lunch. That too can save us money. So a cost of working from home will help us save money. It also improves our health and wellness. Now, when working from home, individuals have flexibility and work according to their choice. So individuals are more happier and are more satisfied. And a saying that goes, a happy worker is a committed worker and a productive worker. So you can see that working remotely increases or betters your health and your wellness. We don't have office distractions as well. Now, we know that when we're in the office, we have our colleagues that will come and they will want to chat with us, we want to socialize. And yes, that's human nature. We need to socialize. But working remotely as well makes you focus and keeps away that particular distractions. You have that ability to get into the zone and buckle down to complete your assignment that is put forth to an individual. A saying that I would like to leave is that the key to success is to focus on your goals and not on your obstacles. So do not see remote working as an obstacle, but see it as a goal that will help you and to improve your working in the future. Now, some of the disadvantages of working remotely is self-discipline. Now, in order to work remotely, a person needs to be motivated. They have to have a strong willpower. They have to be very, very disciplined. You get people in different organizations who work from home that put minimum into this working remotely. They do not have the discipline. They will probably spend 45 minutes to an hour a day just to check their emails and to respond to few emails, and that is it. But working remotely, you have to be dedicated. You have to allow certain hours in the day for you to achieve the work that has been allocated for you in the day. Working remotely, as I say, that it has no specific working hours. You tend to work more hours remotely than in the office. And I can relate to this because it's so difficult at times just to shut down. We receive emails late in the night, and I do not want to leave it for the next morning. So it makes me work later just to respond to emails and just to make sure that I keep keep track of my work and not lose focus. So yes, it makes you work much longer hours. There's less collaboration and network in between people. Because of working remotely, you do not get to see other colleagues from your department. You do not get to travel internationally to network. So you are working alone, and there's no one readily available. So when you work remotely, you need to have some kind of communication, because you cannot work in silos. You need to bounce ideas off with other colleagues. So having a communication app is very important. Another disadvantage is personal distractions. And we know that we all can assign to this, because we know that family responsibility can be a huge distraction in our normal day, because we have kids that we have to take to, we have to make sure that they set up for school, that their meals are ready. So personal distraction can play the major role when it comes to working remotely. Now, I want to share with you in a nutshell of what are the struggles of some of the remote workers. Collaborating and communication, which I mentioned to you, is a major factor, because you work in silos. You do not have anyone to communicate and bounce off your ideas. Loneliness can be a great struggle as well, because remember, some people live alone. Some people do not have anyone to talk to at home. So that can be a major struggle in which people can get into some kind of state of depression. Unplugging from work as well, where you cannot shut down. You want to constantly work because you have the flexibility of working. Different time zones, and we can relate to it, because now it's for us here, it's in the morning, and for India it's almost lunchtime. So with different time zone as well, if we want to, for example, 8 o'clock in the night, if I want to bounce something off with another colleague in India, I have to think, oh, well, they're 3.5 hours ahead of us. So I need to take that into consideration as well. Staying motivated can be another struggle, because being at home, you're so at leisure that you find it difficult to stay focused and be motivated at work. But I think the most important aspect here is taking your vacation time. Because we work from home, there's no vacation time, because you don't know when to shut down. And with the pandemic, it makes it so difficult for us to take vacations, because we don't know where to go, or we don't have anywhere to go. So we just have to stay at home. And by staying at home, we do not shut down, or we do not unplug. So we constantly want to work and work and work. And there we will see the disadvantages of working remotely and the concerns of our remote team. Now, few studies of working remotely says that remote workers are happier and stays in their jobs longer. They have a better work-life balance, and they are more focused and less stressed. Companies are likely to retain remote workers. Production as well increases. And a very famous study by Gallup reveals that engagement climbs when employees spend time working remotely and some time working in location with their co-workers when they go back in the office. But the optimal engagement boost occurs when employees spend 60% to less than 80% of their work week, or 3 to 4 days working off-site. So we can see that 80% of the employees prefer that they work remotely, which increases their engagement with the organization and keep them more satisfied and more committed. I mentioned before that remote workers tend to spend more on the work week, more than 40 hours per week. than their non-remote workers. Now, research carried out by the OWLS lab also indicate that our remote workers are happier in their jobs than those who never work remotely. The reasons respondents said that they decided to work remotely was because of the better work-life balance, the better productivity and focus, less stress, and the avoidance of commuting. So you can see that studies have been undertaken, and it shows that working remotely is much more effective and increases the productivity and keeps an individual much more healthier. But the question that can rise is, are employees really productive when they work from home? And we know that the pandemic has grappled all of us and left us in a situation that we had to make sure we have to find ways to make remote working effective, and that no person, no student, or no organization is affected or left behind. However, the challenges of working remotely, and I'm concentrating on the three main challenges today, is productivity is the first one, where we have the newly remote workers who struggle to stay productive because they find that juggling family responsibilities and work responsibilities to be a major issue. Now, we know that South Africa is a developing country, and working remotely is a new concept for us. So they find it difficult to adjust work and family, which has understandably have taken a knock in the production levels. Now, previously, when we have to go to the office, we know that we work from 8 to 4 in the office, and that's our timings. And when we come home, it's our family time. But now, we need to set boundaries, and we need to make sure that we set timings for our work and timings for our family as well. And I can relate to this, that when I started working remotely, I barely have time for family. It's because I constantly want to check what emails are coming in. The second challenge that we experience is a sense of belonging. Now, working remotely, we find it difficult to have that sense of belonging because we feel that we're working in isolation. We're working in silos. We do not have the colleagues around us to bounce the ideas or just sit in the offices and have a general conversation. Some individuals feel comfortable to make small talk with their colleagues because because at home it's a different ballgame altogether. It's just a so-called rat race where everything is so busy at home that we do not even have time to just sit and have a casual talk. So that is why individuals that are working from home, I picked up, they lack a sense of belonging. They feel that sense to talk to the individuals back at the office. Your overall work satisfaction. We find out that the newly workers, remote workers, are less satisfied with working from home because everything happens so fast that they did not even get a chance to adapt and set up their home office so that they can be comfortable. So here it has an effect on the satisfaction levels as well. And as I say, it happens so fast that people sometimes, and as you will see in my presentation, people will sit anywhere just to get work done from home. Now, how can we overcome these particular challenges? The first thing is that we need to have collaboration tools such as Skype, Zoom, Teams, and the platform that we are using currently, which is Google Meet, to help the newly remote workers to adapt. Now, these collaboration tools will help them to adapt, will help them to feel a sense of belonging, to make them feel that they're not working in silos, to feel some kind of satisfaction when they can communicate and when they can bounce off ideas with their colleagues, which increases their productivity. Now, I often get into this type of a situation where if a decision needs to be made, I obviously need to bounce it off with my colleagues. And sometimes I feel I might be disturbing them. But once I get into contact with them, I feel so much relieved because I can get their views on what a decision that I need to make before I take an instant decision myself. I want to show you another video on teamwork to overcome challenges. So from this video, you can see that with working with teams, we can overcome this challenge with working remotely. We just need our team to be there, to bounce ideas with them, and to make sure that we can achieve this effectively. Now, at the university, I have a wonderful team where if I need anything, if I need to bounce anything, I do not get the permission, but I just phone them instantly. And they do not tell me that I am disturbing them, but they are ever willing to help and make sure that we as a team achieve the objectives that has been set before us. Now, factors that can help employees be productive with working remotely, very importantly, is to take breaks. Now, that helps increase our productivity. If we do not take breaks, we feel drained. We feel like we're going to burn out. So we need to take a walk, eat a healthy snack, use the communication channels if there's any doubt related to work. And there's a technique called the Pomodoro technique, which is used by many individuals. And the Pomodoro technique is basically where an individual chooses a task. The individual will work on that task for 25 minutes, put a check mark on the sheet of paper after 25 minutes is up. Then take a 5 minutes break, which marks a completion of one Pomodoro sprint. After every 4 Pomodoro sprints, the individual must take a longer break, say for example, 10-minute or 15-minute break. And we continue this technique throughout the day, and which helps employees come back more focused and more decompressed. Now, I have tried this technique out with myself, with my husband and the kids, and we see that it is working. Factors to help us, to help the teamwork be effective from home is very importantly to follow a schedule. Now, most of us just start the day off without putting down points, without having a schedule put towards the completion of the day. But I encourage all employees and all students to maintain a schedule that they did at the office, to follow a routine that will help them feel more structured and more efficient. So the schedule maybe from 8 to 4. I'm not asking you to sit from 8 to 4, but at least have a couple hours in the day where you stay focused on your work. Keep a to-do list where you encourage your employees, your students, to write what they want to accomplish each day, and they must not jump from task to task. Make sure that they complete a task before they go on to another task. Communication, as I mentioned, is a most vital, important factor when it comes to working remotely. We need to set daily or weekly meetings where your team discusses and prioritize projects, including deadlines, so we can stay on track. But the communication should not only be on work related. The communication should be also just to check up how the individuals are doing. If there's any challenges that the individuals are experiencing in their personal life, except their working life as well. So having an open communication just to see how your employee is doing is very important. Eliminate any distractions that is posed at home. Some employees feel that they are on holiday, and I must say that the phone is the most destructive factor here, because constantly you want to check what messages are coming through. Constantly you want to check what phone calls are coming through, and you want to be on your social media as well. Now, all these are from some kind of distraction. So what we need to do is probably silence our phone for certain hours in the day so we can eliminate these distractions. There are certain steps that workers can stay focused. And as I say, that you silence your phone and you make your working space at home as an office rather than being on a bed or a couch. And stay away from the house that might tempt you to direct your attention somewhere else. Another factor is that we need to monitor our progress regularly. Now, employees, this is very important because employees need to see if there's any issues that they are facing, and if they need any extra support working remotely. And that is why I say that communication channel needs to be important, where we have it on a weekly basis or even on a daily basis with your staff members. We need to set clear expectations. As a manager or a student, you make sure that you set clear objectives and deadlines for your particular employees. You need to be transparent with your employees. You need to be open with your team and make sure that you only want the best for them. In this all, we need to make sure that we trust each other. that we trust your employees are doing the work, that they will complete the given task that is given to them. We need to trust as students, we need to trust our friends and to make sure that our friends will complete a task that is given to us as a group. Maybe it's an assignment that is given to us. We have to trust each other to make sure that we play our part in completing the work that is allocated to us. Very importantly, socializing with your colleagues and classmates. If we do not socialize with our colleagues, if we do not socialize with our classmates, we feel some kind of disconnection. We feel some kind of loneliness and isolation, which causes problems when it comes to working remotely. Now, companies with a remote work culture usually offer ways of socializing. For example, some companies will set up their own chat channels. Then we have the meetups with the people in the same region. And also, we get the two different types of people where we have the extroverted and we have the introverted. Sometimes the introverted will not want to socialize with their colleagues, but at times, I'm sure the introvert people will also want to just bounce off ideas with their colleagues, will also want to get into some kind of casual chat. So we need to make sure that there's some kind of communication channel for these type of objectives that has been set before us. The most important thing when it comes to working remotely is to avoid burnout. We know that we want to be more productive, we work longer hours, and we take fewer vacations than our in-office counterparts. But we need to set clear boundaries between work and home. Because if we don't, it's going to have a major effect on us to complete urgent projects. Because working longer hours can be tedious and can have an effect on our health as well. Instead of being less stressed by working at home, remote employers often feel overwhelmed and the risk of burning out. Now, we don't want to burn out. And if we do happen to burn out, then this is going to have an adverse effect on our job, because then we will not be able to meet the deadlines and the objectives that has been set before us. Now, I want to speak to you on the different business perspectives in South Africa. And as I say, that South Africa is like any other developing countries where we were not ready for, especially in Finance 24. The virus has forced businesses and office employees to resort to working from home in order to keep operations going, in order to keep the economy stable and up and running as well. Now, there's certain companies such as Discovery, Deloitte, and PricewaterhouseCoopers that have opted to go onto remote working. However, they have taken something called hot desking, where they allocate desk for the employees when the needs arises, or on rotational basis when employees need to be at the office. So they request companies to lend them that particular office space for maybe certain hours in the day or certain period of the month, just to go into the office and to have urgent meetings. Now, we know that this trend is likely to continue in the future, even after the pandemic as it is, which is posing possible threats to the property industry as offices are becoming accessible in one's dining room or workstation at home. So because it's going to be or continue in the future, we need to make sure that we start preparing ourselves more effectively to work remotely. Managers have seen that they actually can manage the output of employees without monitoring office attendance. So we do not have to be in the office for us to monitor the output of employees, because we make sure that we set deadlines and we monitor them according to the deadlines met. However, Employees are found to be even more productive at home than at work and do not waste time in the traffic. This took South Africa about a month for the new employees to get used to the so-called the new normal. However, there's individuals that have mixed feelings when it comes to working remotely, because a survey that shows that 86% of people want to go back to work because working in an office, reasons being is because of the work-life balance, the feeling of isolations and difficulties in carrying out team tasks. Many missed their co-workers as well. So you can see that as much as it has its advantages and its disadvantages, people also have the mixed feelings of, I want to go back, because they feel some kind of isolation working from home. Alexandra Forbes, who's the head of the strategic client, Lesiba, said that this particular working remotely is becoming a more permanent feature for the workplace environment in various industries, and that companies need to provide better technology to enable flexible working conditions for their employees. Survey has been conducted taking into consideration the companies that are mentioned, such as Discovery, Deloitte, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. And they have found that the biggest benefit for working remotely is that 32% of employees feel they have the flexibility to work on the schedule. 26% says that we have the flexibility of working from home. So we can see that working remotely has its benefits and has its disadvantages as well, because 20% says that they struggle with collaboration and communication. 20% also says that they struggle with loneliness and not being able to unplug from working remotely. So to sum up, and to make sure that we keep with the future trend and make sure that we want to be productive and we want to be effective and succeed as a remote worker, these 10 particular steps will help us become more effective, where I have mentioned it in my presentation. But I think the most important factor that I want to speak about here in this diagram is that we need to take time to socialize, which is the last number 10, where if we do not socialize, that's going to keep us, that is going to burn out our individuals. So we have to make sure that we socialize and take time out, even take some kind of vacation, to make sure that we get away from our working environment, to de-stress, and that we can come back more refreshed after a vacation. Just to leave you all with the last quote is that everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. So working remotely can be a challenge for everyone, but I guess if you have to be passionate, dedicated, and put your mind into it, then working remotely can work in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I think it's altogether a new development that the HR textbooks has to carry a new chapter now on this on this particular HR dimension, and I think slowly that is becoming the new normal. I think all our students have to, even teachers, we have to relearn on how to introduce the HR as a HR practices and the working at home, and how to manage the workers remotely, how to create situations for socializing themselves, and how to develop some performance evaluation metrics, I think this is also likely to introduce a new chapter in all our HR. I think HR itself has to be redesigned and redrafted. Thank you for enlightening us on this new theme, and definitely we have been looking at our short-term phenomena, but we are able to make it. It is likely to be, if it's likely to be, what will be the way that we have to look at? What should be the managerial dimensions associated with managing the remote worker, and how to motivate him, how to incentivize him, how to make him to meet with others, socialize. All these are new topics, are new themes, and we are very happy to listen to you on this new theme. Thank you for enlightening all our students and our faculty as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was my privilege as well. If there's any questions, I would like to answer it now. Remember that, and as I said in the closing, that this is a new normal for us. So it could be a pilot as well for many organizations going forward. However, this is the future for companies worldwide. Is there any questions?
Oh no, we will now invite maybe Dr. Lalita Madam. You can start with some faculty who are in the HR area, because this is very interesting, and they have to now. Every one of them are started looking at how this is likely to be the teaching component or teaching dimension. Of course, the students who are going out and they're getting placed, and for them, it's they're already dreaming about it. This is how they are going to naturally. These inputs now streamlines their entire thought. They may be having some ideas just like that. Maybe how do we go about? Are we working? Because when we go to the office, that feel of going to some job. If we are sitting at home and working, that feel of I'm working will not come. I think your lecture has provided some inputs to all my students that we are just on the verge of getting into all our final years, got placed, and they're started already working, and they are about to work. Some of the IT companies have started giving the offers. By December, they're all into this field. Now you have given them a tuning that how this will be. Thank you. Thank you. Madam.
Yes.
Dear students.
Can I add to that, sir? With regard to that, when it comes to students, I know a lot of students will feel demotivated, demoralized with their whole pandemic that's going out. But they need not feel like that, because of going remotely, many organizations will also contact them remotely, and even interviews can go on. So getting the job is all well and good, and then they have to adjust to working from home remotely as well. So they have to not be demotivated.
I do agree with Dr. Lee and Paul, because very recently in India alone, Amazon has announced for 60,000 jobs online. And there is tremendous potential to get into online platforms. And there is potential for the students who are more tech savvy these days to get placed quite early. This is definitely an opportunity rather than a problem for most of the students waiting to be placed. So in fact, I should tell you an interesting thing that, our students who have been helping me in coordinating these webinars got a golden opportunity in the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, who wants to recruit, the institute wants to recruit students at the back end to work remotely. And the package is also very attractive. And those students who have helped me in organizing these meets are recommended for this kind of positions. Those who have just passed out from the 4th semester. So any learning doesn't go waste, and any kind of synergy in academics will definitely be there when we want to do something. This talk, you readily accepted, and you wanted me to give a talk at Schwann University of Management, which would be reciprocative and excellent. So we should all during this pandemic for building our human relations better and better. I think this is what is required. And I'm really excited to share with you that over 16 universities have participated from India, one from South Africa, and from different states of India. I've just noted down the registered participants are from Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, UP, Assam, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Kerala, and the newly formed Bodoland. And 50 colleges, participants from 50 colleges, teachers as well as students have joined to listen to you. That's a very inspiring session. Thank you. Enlightening us about the remote working environment that is required during the COVID pandemic. Thank you so much. Over to students, please.
Participants are requested to put the question in the chat box.
Also, not individual questions, you group the questions because some of them may be same theme, and you raise on behalf of the students, adding, combining questions of similar nature or with the same theme. Okay.
I also request you to look at the chat box in the YouTube's live stream and Google Meet, both.
Yes, ma'am. We are
Student
looking at
Organizing Committee, please raise the questions. Madam is waiting to clarify.
First question is mine only, that you mentioned about at some place that work from home gives flexibility. So, and it won't lead you to any kind of distraction. So I feel that at home you get more distractions rather than at office, because you have got more number of works, daily course to do. So what is your take on that?
Sorry, sir. I could not hear. You cut off a bit over there. I could not hear the complete question.
I was asking that you mentioned somewhere that work from home gives more flexibility and it reduces distractions. But I feel that at home you have more number of daily chores to do, so it has more number of distractions. So what is your take on that?
Yes, I agree with you. It does give us flexibility. It does have a lot of distractions. But that is why I said we need to be disciplined and set core hours in which we shut down and concentrate on our work. So I understand being at home's got lots of distraction with the kids, and you want to know what's happening outside. You want to take walk more often, but we have to have core working hours in which we dedicate maybe 5 to 6 hours concentrating solely on the work that has been given by your organization.
Thank you, ma'am. We have another question. Yeah. We have one question from Dr. Meera Sethi, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, on call. Her query is how to motivate and keep morale of workers working remotely in unorganized sectors.
Can you repeat that for me again?
How to motivate and keep morale of workers working in remotely in unorganized sectors.
Okay, as I said, that the communication apps play a very important role. So we need to communicate with the employees, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, just to touch bases and just to keep them motivated, to ask them, how can we help you? Not in the professional status, but on the personal as well. If a lot of our employees, I know, are experiencing personal problems, they are going into some kind of isolation period where they are stepping back because of working remotely and feeling lonely. So my suggestion is that you need to keep in touch with those employees on a daily basis, not just a phone call, but using Google Meet, using your Zoom platform, so you can see the person and talk to them. I think communication in this instance will play a very important role to improve their morale and to keep them motivated as well.
One more question from Deepika Bala Mandal, first scholar from Fakir Mohan University. How to communicate to the students who are staying in remote area? How a teacher can communicate by the help of technology?
Okay, we have the same challenge, I must say, here in South Africa. We have a lot of students that are staying remotely. The university has something called My Tutor, which is a chat, or should I say, it's called a Blackboard dashboard, where we use to put up teaching material for our students and also communicate with our students on that platform. We have also created a so-called WhatsApp group with all the students belonging in a particular class, and we keep communication on the WhatsApp group as well. Now, we know that most of our students sometimes will not be able to go online to check the communication or discussion, but they have access to WhatsApp. So we have the dual communication here, where we use My Tutor, which is an official TOT platform to communicate with students, as well as the WhatsApp platform to communicate with them as well. I see the WhatsApp with us works more effectively because most of our students get it instantly without have to going to log on to the internet or to log on to their computers. So maybe we could try, maybe you could try that as well. Create your WhatsApp groups with your students in that particular group.
Any queries?
Student organizers to kindly go through the YouTube chat also and raise questions if any to ma'am. No more questions. So shall we go ahead with the vote of thanks? Students, please.
Sorry, ma'am, can I post up my email address for?
Yes, of course. Kindly do it in the chat box so that it reaches everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lee.
We have a few questions from YouTube as well.
Excellent.
Few questions. Mr. Hari Prasad Sharma, is it possible to get 100% result with remote working? Ma'am?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, I say with remote working, it is possible to get 100% effectiveness because you have your self-discipline there and you're dedicated to the chore that you are undertaking. Remember, organizations are also a bit more less strict when it comes to working remotely. So they won't raise, I would say they won't raise the level or they won't raise the bar above your expectations. So they will expect you to be on that level and achieve your 100% goal.
We have Dr. K. Shiva Kumar, Assistant Professor, Aringar Anna Government Arts and Science College. His question is, what are the strategies you suggest to reduce the challenges faced by the employees during remote working?
Sorry, sir, again?
His question is, what are the challenges being faced by the what are the strategies you suggest to reduce the challenges faced by the employees during remote working?
The challenges.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I spoke on 3 different challenges, which was productivity, sense of belongingness, and overall satisfaction. So his question was around the challenges.
Strategies to counter it.
Oh, strategies to counter the challenges. Okay, yes, I did mention, and if you see in my presentation, I did mention that to overcome the challenges that we spoke about is the most important tool is that we need to have some kind of communication between the employees. That is, I gave you the different types of communication apps that we can use. Also, I mentioned that we need to take frequent breaks in between to make sure that we do not burn out. And I gave the example of the Pomodoro technique that I use individually to help me. And then also, very importantly, before you start the day and you jump from task to task, you need to have to keep a to-do list for yourself. So you make sure that you discipline and you make sure you complete the tasks that are set on for that particular day. I also mentioned that you follow a schedule, and this brings me to my first question that was asked. And I said, we need to have a schedule and we need to be disciplined and allocate maybe certain hours in the day to make sure that we achieve our goals that are set off for us by the organization. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
We have another participant, Kanagasan. A question is, how important the intrinsic motivation is in the COVID situation, irrespective of working culture?
How important is the intrinsic motivation is in the COVID situation, irrespective. Remember that when we, your intrinsic motivation, there's certain factors that will motivate you intrinsically as an individual. Now you need to use those factors practically and make sure that those particular factors are going to help you in this particular situation, such as your feeling of where you are feeling wanted, a sense of belonging. Now you need to make sure that you have that sense of belongingness to give out information to your respective colleagues, to your respective friends. So your intrinsic motivation here in this particular time is very important. So you need to take those and put it practically to help you in this current situation.
We have Ashwin TR. His question is, I'm currently working from home as an international marketing executive. The problem that I face while working from home, not being able to connect with clients properly.
Okay, the problem not being able to connect with clients can either be two reasons. It's because of network that he doesn't have, or is it because the people are not available during the day for communication? So I think as another to top up on this answer is that we need to have proper communication channels, and again, set down working hours for the employees. With that particular question, I would like to know, why is he not being able to connect? Is it because of connectivity problem, or is it because the individuals are not available during the day?
We have Nara Pradeep. This question is, suggest some advice to reduce stress of the employees in this pandemic situation. Suggest companies as well as employees.
So he wants me to suggest some advice to reduce the stress in this particular situation for companies and employees. Am I right? Okay, if we look at the presentation that I did, and there's ways of overcoming the challenges and also the advantages. So he can take the advantages and turn that into a practical experience where he will overcome stress. Now, I know this particular pandemic is very stressful for each one of the individuals, for both the companies and for both the organizations. So my advice is, in order to overcome this stress, we have to set boundaries for each individual, and for each organization, we have to make sure that we have that particular communication open between all in that particular organization. Now, from a personal example, when we started the lockdown in March, I did not know where to start. And that created a lot of stress on me being the so-called HOD of the department. But prioritizing your work, one, two, having communication with individuals in your department or in your organization will help relieve stress. So they can mention to you if you are on the right track with achieving the objectives that has been set forth to that particular individual.
We have one more question from P. Giri Babu, Geetam University, Visakhapatnam. If we assume 100% of this pandemic removes in future, how can we balance remote work and physical presence working conditions?
Is that on the chat, sir? Is that also on the chat?
It is from the YouTube. I can read it again.
Please.
If we assume 100% of this pandemic removes in future, how can we balance remote work and physical presence working conditions?
Okay, companies, as I say, working remotely is the new normal. And most of the companies are going to work remotely or go into the remote working. And as I use the example of certain organizations, such as Cecil and Deloitte in South Africa, that has went 100% to working remotely. Now, what they do is the office presence is they hire offices for certain hours in the day or for certain days in the month, which is called, I said, hot desking, where you go into the office and you have your meetings with your colleagues, but taking into consideration, you have to keep your distance amongst all of them because we do not know when this pandemic is going to end. So yes, it is possible to have your remote working together with your office, face-to-face office interaction by hiring offices and going into for certain days of the week or certain days in that particular month.
Good, I think very enlightening. I think if there are no questions, shall we thank the madam? Lalita? Hello? Hello?
She's not here, sir. I think some person.
Okay. Any more? Okay, madam.
I now request Akineni Lokitesh to propose the vote of thanks.
Okay, good. Good, go ahead.
On behalf of the Department of International Business, I take the privilege to present the vote of thanks. We are highly indebted to Dr. Lee Annie Paul Dachapalli, Head Department of People Management and Development, Pondicherry University, South Africa, taking time off from her busy schedule to be us today and share all her experience. That was really inspiring. Thank you, ma'am. We have extremely intellectual day and learned a great deal from you. Next, we are really grateful to our Dean of School of Management, Professor K. Chandrasekhar, sir, for unwavering support and guidance he has always been extending to us. He is always with us even for the dry runs and review meets, and is a great source of encouragement to us. The students always, I also wish to thank the head of the Department of International Business, Professor Bhanumati Madam, for unsustained support to, she could not make it today due to technical and personal reasons. I express my deep gratitude to our mentor guide, Professor Lalita Ramakrishnan Madam, for chairing the organizing committee and leading the webinar into a grand success. This is the 8th national event under her leadership, which is connecting all of us, the rest of the management world. I also extend my thanks to all our dedicated professors who have always backed us. Professor Srinivasan sir, Rajesh sir, Dr. Bhushan sir, Dr. Sridharan sir, Dr. Tyagarajan sir, and Dr. Arul sir. Thank you for being with us, always and motivating us. I respectfully thank all the senior faculty members of sister departments for their unsustained support from time to time. We owe a great deal to the Pondicherry University team of the Computer Center, the system manager, Head Mary Ashok, system analyst Alanival, and Mr. Balan for all the back-end technical support given to us and providing the university webinar platform live streaming this webinar in Pondicherry University YouTube channel. I wish to express my thanks to all the faculty members, scholars, corporate executives, and student friends of School of Management, affiliated colleges, and management institutes and universities in India and abroad for their active participation. Thank you all for being the ever enthusiastic knowledge thirsty. My thanks also is due all my number classmates of my MBA third semester at the end of the department International Business who have given their precious time to organize this event. Ms. Priyanka M, Ms. Smita L, Ms. Kanaga Sagalapati from Pondicherry, and Mr. Akash Kumar and Gaurav Kumar from Patna, Bihar, for the excellent teamwork in the remote environment and helping the great to conduct today's international webinar. Thank you for having kindly helped. It has been our pleasure to host the event. Once again, I thank one and all. Have a nice day. Stay home, stay safe, and wait for our next international event, which will be soon announced. Thank you.
So thank you. I joined the students and as well as Lalta Ramakrishnan to thank our Dr. Lee Dachepalli for her excellent presentation and a new theme that she has introduced to our academic community today. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I say my last words? I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to present, sir, madam, and your organizing committee. It was really my privilege, and I look forward to working with you in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are happy.
We have shared the feedback form in the chat. Please do fill it. We'll be sharing the real-time polling of the session. We also have created a WhatsApp group where you can get to know about the upcoming webinars. You can also join that group. Link has been provided in the chat box.
Can I also join the link?
Yes, ma'am, please.
See you in our next webinar.